Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
This is an early one, huh? This is ridiculous. I was up at, what, 5:30 in the morning today? Hello, camera. We have now acknowledged each other's presence so we can proceed. Okay. You guys are Ceramics 1, Ceramics 2, Ceramics 3, correct? How many of you have thrown a pot on the wheel? This is great. Yesterday, one person kind of went, right? So I'm just going to throw things. Yesterday, I went through about a 45-minute explanation of how this works, right? In the beginning, I might say a little more in terms of the technical process involved with this. But if you have questions, please ask me, right? Especially with these morning classes, I need your energy. You need my energy, right? So we're going to be a team, and everything will be good.
Yeah, we got coffee.
We have coffee. We can get personal, talk about good things. All right, I'm putting a little bit of water on the wheel. I'm slapping this bad boy down, and I'm on my way to making the first 8-inch cylinder. 8-inch, about 3 pounds of clay here. Again with the basics. So, does this look familiar to anyone, what I'm doing?
Coning it up.
Coning it up. This is correct. I must confess, I'm a little shivery this morning. No one told me San Diego got to, what, 38 or whatever it was when we left the house?
Oh, it'll be really hot in an hour.
I know. It'll be hot because we'll be excited, we'll be talking a lot, and these lights will be on us. Did anyone have any questions about what I was doing? Because I just did something very quickly. Does anyone need to know? Are we going for the ride? Tell us what I did. I coned this thing, right? And do you want to know the dirty details of what I was doing there? I put pressure this way, forward. I have my elbow in my leg here. It's not very pretty. I'm not going for any style awards with it. You know, we're just getting dirty there. And I'm pushing forward. You notice how the thing leans forward like a joystick would, right? With my other hand, I'm here, and I'm just supporting that so that it's not pushing too far forward and lifting up. This is taking any inconsistencies this way, pushing them to the lip, which is now shaky times, right? So then, with my hands up here, I turn this way. I use my thumbs, and I put a shape something like this on them, right? I push down with my thumbs and compress the clay, right? Now you notice how it's shaking a little bit as I did that. I use this part of, hold on, this is important. I use my femur right about here to push right there, and what it's doing is it's just kind of like a rib. It's staying on the side and it's locking this material in to be centered. Today I'm going to start out simply making a cylinder, and then I'm going to make some other stuff. Maybe some cups and some bowls and some household objects. Sort of. Sort of. I'm opening the clay, keeping a little bit of pressure towards myself in the same way that I was pushing away before. You guys are quiet. Give me something, anything. What did we all have for breakfast this morning?
Coffee.
Coffee? I think you should talk to a doctor about that. That's probably not healthy.
Oh, wait, I had yogurt too.
Okay, good. We had some yogurt. Did you guys wake up dreaming about making cylinders?
Yep. Yeah, actually. Were you dreaming about making cylinders?
No. I was dreaming about sleeping. Oh, this is important. Right here. I want everyone to do this. Take your thumbs, right? Put your middle fingers together and look at it. It is a heart, right? because we love ceramics. We heart ceramics. This is probably the most important tool you will use in throwing, right? This actual action of pulling the wall up is called throwing. And I always tell people to use this technique. I tell you to keep your elbows planted, and at 3 o'clock on the outside, I want your right middle finger, and on the inside, I want your left middle finger. They work slightly as a clamp together, pushing, lifting material. Notice I have my 2 first fingers touching each other and my thumbs connected. The more things that connect, the better your odds are of keeping a sturdy ground. Notice I'm doing some very bad things to my body while I'm throwing. I'm really like this. I'm really compressed and tight. This is why Sasha has back problems, and she constantly complains about it. I too complain about it all the time. There's something about just having your body as rooted in the ground as possible, right? And when you guys are starting to throw here, you're gonna have your elbows out. You're gonna be doing something like this. It's gonna go just like this, I guarantee it. So the sooner you can think about me, and remember myself doing that where I'm rooted, I look like some strange compressed human being, and I'm pulling the walls up, the more proficient you will be. Right now I'm using B-Mix. B-Mix is kind of a porcelain-y white clay. Feels like butter. It's smoother than the clay I generally throw. Yesterday when I was throwing with it, I was making things too thin, and then they were falling all apart because I wasn't used to it. So today I'm just gonna drop this one almost immediately so I can get it out of the way. How does that sound? This is part of the whole rock and roll attitude in ceramics, right? Got to break an egg.
How thick are your walls?
A good way to check thickness is to stick my needle tool in there. I pushed it against my finger on the other side, so it's about, what is that? Not much, not very thick. 1/8 of an inch, yeah. You guys all have these rib tools, right? They will help you in your journey towards cylinders. I'm just pressing on the inside, like this. I'm walking up the side of the pot, and it's helping me create that cylinder. Now there is a distinct difference between this rib and this rib and this rib and this rib. Has everyone played with all of these different ribs in your various projects? Yes, no? Okay, well this one I have often said is my favorite thing in the world. And I got 2 cats and I love them a little bit more, just a little bit. This is a metal rib tool. And you could cut yourself very easily with it, but check this out. When you put it on the side of the thing, it becomes so soft, so smooth, so delicious, that it's worth the daring tragedy of cutting your own hand using it. I'm just keeping it as a slight angle, and it's pushing like that against the clay. Oops. So this, ladies and gentlemen, of Palomar is our warm-up. A cylinder. You have what, 8, 10 due. All right? Yeah, let's go forward. Okay, so I'm just going to push this thing out so that it drops. I thought if nobody had any requests, I'd just start by making a cup or two, move on to some bowls, move on from there, and hopefully by the time the cups are done, people will be actively asking all sorts of questions. Right, Sash?
Right. Can you talk a little bit about the speed of the wheel when you're centering compared to like pulling?
Absolutely. It's a little bit early, so I'm not paying great attention to it, which for the sake of demonstrations is actually really important. You'll notice that these things have the ability to go extraordinarily fast and extraordinarily slow, right? And then you'll notice that when I'm throwing, I'm somewhere right about in the middle. Doing this, getting the thing going real quick, you're on there, is a very dangerous process in terms of trying to center something or trying to throw something, because at all moments you're fighting centrifugal force, especially when you lift a cylinder. As the thing speeds up, it wants to go out and down, right? But your hand needs to make contact with a point and stay there for a 360-degree rotation, right? If my hand moves quickly and the wheel moves slowly, I have made a corkscrew in the side of the thing, right? No good. So what we're trying to do is find a speed that feels comfortable, that we can keep our hands moving at a moderate rate, right? If the wheel was going this fast, I could very quickly go up and down, right? Because it's just spinning quickly. And if it's going slow, catch my drift? Super slow. So I think that in terms of beginning to learn how to throw something in ceramics, it's good to have a moderate speed, and I'll often tell students to just kick that pedal aside. Just keep it consistent and focus on this. Now I also will tell you that centering the thing, which will be your greatest downfall in the beginning, you'll laugh and you'll cry and you'll scream and you'll yell at Sasha. It's best to think about it like breathing, right? When you breathe, you don't go, right? You will consistently, slowly, in, out. We go in, we go out. It's a very meditative thing. Surprising that I'm saying that, coming from New York. There's nothing very meditative about New York. But, right, so what I'm trying to do is get you guys clued into watching specific things that are happening with my hands in terms of the rate at which I approach this and the different things that I'm doing, so that you're just looking for them. Do you folks have any connection with the Monday, Wednesday classes of ceramics? No? You don't know them? Different world?
Did you use your thumb when you dropped the ball?
Yeah, I did. And what I was actually using was my thumb connected with my first finger here. I was using my first finger and I was steadying it with my thumb. That's an important question. And the reason I laughed was because that is not how I teach doing it. It was dirty. So let's go back and let's pretend you didn't see that. Okay? And we'll, that's not working.
Did you like teaching more or being a studio manager more?
Teaching any day of the week. That's a wonderful question. And as soon as I find a bat that will work, I'll answer that question.
Why are you having difficulty with that?
These two don't have the, 12-inch bat pin? They're smaller, 12-inch. 14-inch bat, 12-inch pins. Okay. I'm going to do thing number 1 first, and then when I'm throwing something, I'll talk about teaching and community ceramics. That was one of the questions that arrived late in the session yesterday, and glad you brought it up now, because we can really cut the fat and get to know each other, you know? You almost feel like a news reporter right there. I want you to give me a scowl. So, Peter, what do you think of the stock market? I lost more money last
Peter, we don't care about the stock market. What do you think of our studio?
What do I think of your studio? I think Sasha's doing a wonderful job. Elect me for mayor. Okay, question number 1 of technique. I highly advise you when you are learning to throw to consider which fingers you're using when you're dipping in there, right? When you're opening the thing. Because we have a lot of time to make this centered, right? But we only get one shot to knock that hole in there and have that be centered as well.
I have a problem with my fingers like twisting all weird when I drop that hole. And
Well,
it knocks all.
Maybe we should get you in here in a little bit. We'll just do a little, can we freestyle together in a little while? I'll center it, we can do it? Because I can only, by seeing you do it, I can help you improve that way. And mostly it would have to do with probably your elbow out here, and you're talking to Lucy over there, and something's going on. You're not probably like really centered. Your body's not a brick. So we'll get you out here. It'll be like Dancing with the Stars or something. I don't know if that's the best one. What is it? Throwing with the Pincus. It'll be like a Rachel Ray morning show, right? Okay. What I generally tell people to do is use their middle finger supported by their first finger and their third finger like this. Creates a battering ram, if you will. So you'll see people start with their thumb, and the elbow's up here, and they're moving all around. There's a couple of problems. First of all, you're working directly perpendicular to the bat, and so the clay can move you freely, and it does. Second of all, you're using your thumb, which surprisingly is the weakest tool in your toolbox. The thumb is lame. You got to stay away from the thumb in most cases because it just doesn't have the strength that your finger has. You know, when you say, don't do this, your finger gets a lot of work out, right? You never say, don't do this. Now, the other thing is, so we talked about thumb, no perpendicular to the bat. You actually kind of want to be at about 45-degree angle, and you want to have a little pressure towards you, right? Just enough pressure so that you're making this thing know that there's one distinct point of pressure, right? As opposed to it going straight down, it's coming towards you a little bit. Does that make sense? So we lock our finger in there and we push down. Now, as you've already noticed, I didn't do what I told you to with that thing, right? Things change. People change. People change. Change is good. Change is acceptable. But for the sake of learning this thing, I would stick to what I believe is a more solid technical capacity immediately. And then you start to move forward to understanding how your fingers work. This thing that I did with the heart, we all love ceramics. It's like, it doesn't work for everybody. Some people do this, and some people like punch the thing on the side, and that's how they move it, right? But I believe that by using these sorts of steps that I'm talking about, you're best able to kind of channel your mind towards like a very direct touch with the material. That's proven. It's like the Suzuki method. Is the Suzuki method even proven? All I can say is that I didn't use it, and I'm not a violin player, so.
My son plays about 7 instruments, and he only does the Suzuki.
It's proven. Thank you. I was looking for someone to help me there. Thank you. Okay, we're back to the cupish thing. And we're also back to me talking for some time about education, community ceramics, right? There is something extraordinarily brilliant about students who are looking for grades, right? There's something really brilliant about a student who has the ability to take time to really push themselves and understand material and understand ideas. And there's something incredibly difficult about a person who's paying $200, $150 a month to come into a studio and they want their red glaze, you know? It's not, it's a completely different situation. So teaching is a challenge to help people progress. And what I'm doing in community ceramics is pushing myself as hard as I can to keep people at a certain level where they feel comfortable, right? Does that make sense? And so in one place I'm extremely challenged to articulate ideas, keep people energetic, doing what we do, and that's really exciting. And then in the other place, if I don't fire that cone 10 kiln perfectly, I'm in trouble. And I'm in big trouble, and people are yelling at me, and it's really gruesome. So to look at those two things very specifically in that way, it's easy to pick one, right? And that's not to say that I don't really enjoy community ceramics. I just did a workshop that that was based on solely what I'm really doing, which is the molds. And I had 30 community ceramics people who've been throwing work for 25 years go, and they were extremely sober through the process. They were able to understand exactly what I was doing, which is complex will be complex from your point of view, seeing a new process that you haven't understood. But they were able to drink it in, and we were able to get some really great dialogue. And when I went on my little rants about stuff, they were able to just take it and run with it. So there's something really refreshing about that. But a lot of it is just a job where they want something very specific, like McDonald's, right? They want a perfect cone 10 kiln. And then students are saying, well, what's up with that? I don't even know, I think I want this blue thing, and it's like a lion's face, so let's make that happen, you know? So they embrace flaws and idiosyncrasies of work.
How much pressure are you putting on your fingers?
Who asked that? Come here. The best thing I can do is pinch your finger. With that, I was doing just about that. It's not that much. You'd be surprised. As soon as I lift down here, as soon as you see that bump, it's almost riding the wave. And I say that having never surfed in my life. But it kind of starts to take care of itself if you can get underneath it and just gently pull it up. So I'm led to believe that riding the wave is no simple thing. Any surfers in the class? Were you up this morning?
Nope. I was sleeping.
Commitment.
Should have been.
Do you guys always have big waves?
No.
Or is it like a holiday when you get really big ones?
Oh yeah. A few weeks ago. No. It was raining on like 6, 7 footers. It's like, yeah.
Now, is there a community with that? Are there a bunch of people that are all amped to see you do well, or is it a competitive?
Here, yeah. It's a little bit of both. Yeah.
Well, what's up with that? Right? Where's the love? In New York? I've never once been competitive in any way in my life.
How much are you leaving on the bottom?
Oh, I'm leaving a ton down there. It's pretty much this thick, we'll say. Maybe this thick. I want to cut a big old foot. And yesterday it was my job to make things so that I could trim them today, and I failed in that because I got on a tangent. So now I'm making things that I can trim maybe tomorrow or the next day for you guys. Notice I'm taking the rib to the inside here. Gotta be smooth. You really gotta think about the interior space and the exterior space when you're working on the wheel.
What made you decide to want to be a teacher?
Want to be a teacher?
Like, did you decide that in school or before school?
Well, I went to grad school with it in mind. And I went back to Alfred because I knew that there was such an opportunity to learn something about teaching there, but there's really no opportunity as grand as the one when you're actually in it for reals. So the difference between being a TA and having that responsibility of teaching the occasional class and then doing what I'm doing now it's scary. I'm in over my head. It's crazy, but it's really exciting. I had a belief that I might be interested in it sometime after undergrad. And so I started teaching a lot of community ceramics classes. I'll back it up for a moment. When I was in high school, my girlfriend at the time's mother was a middle school teacher, and so for art teacher, so she brought me in and I was able to teach middle school kids and just try to articulate my ideas in some way. Was I actually helpful? I don't know, but what it was doing at that time was helping me formulate my viewpoint and my understanding of the technique, right? And there's something very profound about that opportunity because I was able to see with 140 students very quickly what worked and what didn't work in terms of like, you have 5 minutes on the wheel, come here and stick your finger in there. Okay, that one didn't work, get out of here. You come over here, stick your finger that way, right? And that was helping me understand for myself what this tool really was. And so I liked that. I didn't get it that much, and I didn't think that much of it. But then I went, then after I went out to Mendocino, I worked with her husband quite a bit. And I helped teach him how to use ceramics. And I really enjoyed that very simple connection that I had delivered, or that we had created together. So I thought, well, maybe there's something neat about that. So I started teaching a lot of community ceramics classes, a lot. And towards the end of my time before grad school, I thought, well, this is really neat. There's something that I want about this. I still don't understand it. So I put myself in the situation where I had to be responsible. And then it becomes much more intense, where you start to create a philosophy about what education is and all those things. It's almost like, I won't even go there. It's just, it's one of those snowballing things. So I don't know if you ever think, well, I'm going to be a teacher. Just kind of, you just like an aspect of communicating with people. And then by the time you're a teacher, you start to realize, oh, this is a really important job. I have to take this very seriously.
Do you teach college classes?
I teach college classes at a private college nestled in the lovely Alfred, New York, or Rochester, New York area, which has, by the way, the best water in the country. Arguably.
It's gross.
Mm-hmm.
California. How many students
Exactly,
do
you heard
have?
about that. I do not have many students in my class. I have 10 students in ceramics right now. That's small. And then I have just under that in 2D design. And then next semester, I'll have, the classes are small, so I'll have 2 classes of 8 in 3D design, and then I might have some more in ceramics than I do now.